Coach, looking back over this 5-game road trip, what's your biggest takeaway about this group?
3 out of 5 is a good trip. 4 or 5 out of 5 would have been a great trip. So it, there's some games we took some steps ahead, but there's some disappointing parts too. So it's just a matter of keep growing.
This is a group that seems to take good responsibility for their actions and find ways to bounce back. What was your message to them this morning?
Play smarter. Just every game, I have no, like there's games when you go to, whether it's the last game of a trip or there's certain scenarios around your club, whether it's injuries or anything, that, could have a bearing on the outcome of the game. But it's one thing to give a game away, and with some of the mistakes we were making, just mental mistakes that we're making, were not ones that were conducive to winning or giving yourself a chance to win. And that to me, there's some games when the effort's not there or you're tired or whatever it may be, but there's things you can do in a game to give you a better chance to win, and we didn't do enough of those things last night, which was disappointing to end the trip that way. Now, that being said, the San Jose game, the Vegas game, even the Arizona game, we played pretty well, and so we're making strides, but we still got a ways to go.
How aware are you of the stat with the correlation between the American Thanksgiving standings and the final standings for a playoff spot? And if so, how do you sort of...
Somebody handed me a whole bunch of those stats this morning, so I'm aware of them, but you still there's a long time between now and the end of March, so keep that in mind. We have to continue to get better.
Sorry. What does that say, though? It's 76%. You're in now, you're in at the end of the year. What does that say about how hard it is to change positions throughout the season, or significantly change positions?
Well, it's a hard league to stretch anything out. 3-point games is basically, it tells me you got to bank as many points as you can early and keep banking them all year if you're going to be a playoff team, because you earn the right to be a playoff team. That's what it is. And what you do is, if you can get out of the gate early and put some points in the bank, it might shelter you a little bit if you run into some injury problems or run into a slump, which you try not to do. But for us, we wanted to get to a good start of the season just because we needed momentum. We needed to get things going the right way. We needed to find out who we are as a team and how we're going to play and how we're going to continue to get better. So I know there's emphasis put on this time of the year right now. I put more emphasis on it. At the start of the year, I looked at this last road trip and said, this is one of the most important ones of the year right here. And it just happened to fall American Thanksgiving. So we put a lot of emphasis going into this road trip on 4 division games, a Colorado team that's a good team. So, I think we got a pretty good read on our team. So it's like I said, there's 3 of 5 are good, 2 not so good. Let's keep working at it. So that's, the stats are what they are. But just because you're in a Thanksgiving doesn't mean you're in at the end. So we got a lot of work to do.
What's the situation with Nugent Hopkins and your other injured players?
Nuge had a little procedure this week, and I don't think he's available this weekend, but early next week is a possibility for him.
And he's been bothered by this for some time?
It's been a little bit of a nagging thing for a few weeks here, yeah. So it was the time that before it got any worse, we decided that it was the right time to make sure we took care of it, and hopefully a week or 10 days will do that, and he'll be back at it.
And Chase
was getting some tests done today that we'll know more later on today with him.
Russell
just took a bad cut on his ear last night and was sore today. I think he'll be available to play on Saturday, but just he's a tough little guy. I don't know if you've ever had your ears sewed up before, but that's one of the worst spots. His ears hurt bad, and I remember I felt for him, seeing him laying on the table last night, and they're sewing him up and half his ear hanging off there. It's So we decided to give him the day off. He earned a day off today.
One last thing about Archibald. You played with his dad, did you? Is there anything, the son and the father?
They're both right wingers. His dad was a character. His dad was tough as they come, nasty as they come. Archie's Josh he's a real good, solid player. Plays hard all the time. Not quite as big as his dad was, but similar kind of players. Just his dad played in a little different era where there was a little more nastiness. All right, thanks.